Hello, a very good day, ladies and gentlemen, depending on whichever part of the globe you're watching us from. Welcome to another interesting episode of the Candid Talk here on Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. My name is Evan Sokinya. I'm glad that you're here with us. As usual, I'm joined by Professor Herman Manyora. How are you, sir?
Fine, thank you.
We are here yet again.
I can see you are so poor you can't buy a trouser. You're putting on a torn trouser.
No, not really. You know, I went on a Meet the People tour.
Okay.
I went on some official duty. I was sent by the editor somewhere, and then apparently I came back here quite early. I couldn't actually proceed to the house. So I decided to come to the studio right away and have these issues discussed on broad daylight and tell Kenyans how things are taking place in the country.
Point taken.
Definitely. Here we are right now. Over the weekend I saw what happened, and of course the SGR, not really the SGR, but then the Expressway is back in functioning around. The one that was vandalized that day, of course, that was some sort of unfortunate turn of events. But a number of Kenyans took issue with the fact that the Cabinet Secretary for Transport, Kipchumba Murkomen, released a statement claiming that the vandalism that took place there could amount to some sort of 700 million shillings. And people were like, really? Is this guy being sensible in making these statements? How did he even know in the first place? Yet no valuation had taken place there. Could they be reading more, or it was just as a part of that?
You know, we are like hounds, which sense blood. So when a Kenyan sees an opportunity to make money, I'm not saying he has seen one, but I was also baffled. Since when did Murkomen become a valuer?
Okay.
To know, and how fast can you do the valuation, even if you are a valuer? But what's more puzzling, how damage of 700 million could be repaired in a day.
But at least
in 48 hours, everything was already.
The repair is going on, but at least
No, it was 48 hours and everything, systems go. It's fully operated. What happened? There's nothing that happened in the Expressway. A few cameras here, flower pots, and that grill. Actually, if it got to even 2 million, I'll be shocked.
So you're part of Kenyans reading a lot, but there is more than meets the eye.
But the bigger problem, and I've said this on TV, the bigger problem is this. Murkomen knows very well he's admitting liability on behalf of the people of Kenya. When you are involved in an accident, if you look at the insurance cover, it says in the event of an accident, do not admit liability. What's your insurance? If my man in your case, why is Murkomen admitting liability that the people of Kenya are willing to pay 700? If it comes to paying, we shall have to haggle with the Chinese. Tell them, no, it was not this. No, our valuers are saying it is $2 million. You are saying 3 million. No, we will have to haggle. Why is he admitting liability on behalf of the people of Kenya in the interest of the Chinese? Something wrong with that guy. Number two, as a minister in charge, why is he not pointing at that clause in the contract and say, how can you have a clause like this in the contract? Which says, if something happened to the Expressway business, Kenyan people will pay. How? That is a business. You get it? You insure your business against vandalism, against riots. There's insurance for that. You insure against damage. The insurance will pay. Kenyan people are not insurers.
Okay.
He's the man who, that's a business. Hiyo ni biashara ya mtu. Hawezi kuwekea wa Kenya. Ati kitu ikifanyika kwa Expressway, wa Kenya waende kwa mfuko wa mlipe.
Okay.
He should insure his business. And Murkomen should be the first person to cite that part of the clause and even contest it. And say, on behalf of the people of Kenya, we are contesting this clause. In this agreement, it's not a good clause. Because even we as people of Kenya, there is so much we can do to sabotage this program, this project of yours, without you taking us anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well and good, but ladies and gentlemen, remember this channel definitely abhors any kind of vandalism and destruction of property as was witnessed therein, and we are not part of that. Definitely, right now, Prof, I want us now to leave alone the pronouncement by the transport CS and get back to all the way to Nyanza province the other day, not Nyanza province, but now the Nyanza region, now that the provincial units were done away with in the new constitutional dispensation. Here we are. The president was at Raila's backyard, and Raila also had a meeting down there. Do you think that perhaps Raila's meeting was deliberately done to perhaps sabotage the president's visit in that area?
I may not know. I'm not privy to anything like that. They didn't tell me anything. But I do know that Nyanza is not Vihiga. You know, if you had one meeting in one part of Vihiga and the president had another one, then that place is too squeezed. But Nyanza is a big region. If somebody is in Homa Bay and another one is in another place, it's not an issue.
But then, initially, the Raila did not have any plans of going down
How
there.
do you know?
That could have been communicated earlier on.
Me, I've said I don't know. You are lucky you know.
The communication was not made initially until we had this kind of Thanksgiving ceremony for the interior PS, Raymond Omolo there. Then all of a sudden, we had now this kind of impromptu meeting by the Azimio.
What would not be right is if the president was going to Raymond's place, and Raymond's a good young man, and Raila tried to pitch his meeting just a few kilometers away, that will not be respectful. That will be bad. That can cause chaos, and that cannot be allowed.
Okay.
But if you are some 200, 100 kilometers away, you just do your business. The president will do his business. I'm very happy the president went to one part of his country where he's the president, and he was received well, and he came back. That's the way it should be.
A number of Kenyans are reading more into what took place down there. They're saying that the president is actually arming himself ready for the 2027 elections, and he's out to make sure that he at least garners some considerable amount of votes as opposed to what he's been getting all along. Do you then buy that kind of idea that perhaps his approach of working with the guys like Raymond Omolo, now the PS Interior, some of which, and the ICTCS could perhaps work in his favor to garner him some votes come 2027?
Let's not mix things. Let's go step by step.
Okay.
You have said he's working towards 2027.
That is what people say.
That's what every politician does. You're looking at the next election because they are politicians. They are not leaders. That saying we have been told many times. Leaders look at the next generation. Politicians look at and focus on the next election.
Okay.
So the president is a politician. Thinking about 27 is the natural thing to do. As to whether by working with my friend Owalo and my other friends, he will be able to penetrate Nyanza, depends on the dynamics. Politics is dynamic. Maybe Raila will not be running. Raila is not running, and he doesn't have such a direct interest in the election. And the people of Nyanza or Luo Nyanza are not, don't have that much stake. Things can go either way, and for the president, it will be a good thing to have started earlier by making friends of Owalo, Raymond, Kidero, and so on and so forth.
Does this then actually reveal the truth of the allegations that the appointment of the guys like CS Eliud Owalo and a number of people whose appointments are still pending, the likes of Evans Kidero, you know very well, the issue of the CAS positions therein, does it then prove that all these appointments are political?
All appointments are political. All.
Okay.
All appointments in government are political. Yeah, everywhere across the world.
If they are political,
why am I not a CS?
Why are you not a CS?
Yes.
So had you been perhaps
politically the first on the list?
Had you been politically aligned to the government, you'd be there.
Maybe if Raila won, I would not be sitting here with you.
So all these appointments are political.
All appointments are political. All of them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, it all depends on what
that one is more conspicuous because it is from Nyanza. But all of them are political. You put Linturi because you are thinking about the Meru. You put Alice Wahome because you are Gikuyus, and you look in Mudavadi is there. You are Tangula. This is It's all political. Yeah.
Talk to me about the presence of the so-called ODM rebels, the likes of the Kisumu senator, the likes of the Langata member of parliament, the Suba member of parliament as well. All of them, around 6 of them, were there with the president. They failed to attend that rally organized by the ODM chief. Definitely, what does this then portray about them? Or then does it reveal what people have been fearing all along, that these people have...
Kenyan politics is just like that. It's once an election is over, there will be many politicians up for sale. Yeah. They go and put on their Sunday best and they go to the market to be bought. And they will be bought by the president who has won. We are used to that from 1992. After the reintroduction of multipartyism, the so-called defections. That is common in this country. There will be cheap politicians, and most of the politicians are cheap. You wave a few shillings. In fact, don't blame Kidero and Jalango. If it was not the power of Raila, almost everybody in Nyanza would by now have been bought, or will have changed. You know, bought is not a very good language. I apologize. You know, these are leaders. You know, we must respect them. All of them,
but it's some sort of
most of them would have joined Ruto, but they fear the power of Raila. They would lose their elections. That is the nature of our politics. We do not have serious, principled people. You must look very hard in this country to arrive at people like Babu Wino, Sifuna, or Sozi. They won't even get to 20. People you can stand somewhere. You can't shake. Millie Odhiambo Mabona, Otiende Amolo. You know, there are not that many. Mazayo from the coast. Robert Umui, you know. I think there's somebody like Wambua. They may get to 20, 25 from both Senate and the National Assembly. Across the country. Even Luos.
About the rest?
So I don't want to blame Jalango. Those are the ones who are ready to take the risk of losing their seats, and they will lose their seats. There's no way Tom Ogenda can become Senator of Kisumu. And there's no way. Unless things change the way I've said.
Does it then say, confirm that they have made their beds right now and they've made peace with it anyway?
But you calculate. Sometimes you know why you are doing so. Maybe you have something you want to protect. Or there's something you want to gain. And you don't care losing in the next election.
Yes, definitely, Prof. You've always maintained this assertion that the president's kind of tactics in dealing with the opposition and trying to woo the Luo Nyanza region by going through the likes of those people whom you call Luo rejects, Luo leaders rejects. I don't know whether that term is actually necessary. As you
I'm in a good mood. I don't want to call them rejects.
You don't want to call them that, but then using the likes of so and people who are deemed to not have some sort of influence in the Luo Nyanza region, the likes of Raymond Omolo. I've just known him the other day. I've never known him all along. Eliud Owalo is just come to the limelight recently. Do you still have that kind of assertion that he cannot succeed in getting that voting block without going through
things
Raila
remaining equal? You know, politics dynamics. There can be changes. But if you look at the history of this country, if you look at the Luo politics, nobody has succeeded in changing the Luo by bringing in Kaliech. You know, there have been Kaliech people, Kaliech. There have been all manner of people Moi brought on board. They never made an impact. Whenever they pass, people just laugh at them. So there's no difference today. There is nothing my friend Owalo can move in Luo Nyanza. There is nothing Kidero can move. In fact, today, if Kidero were to, if there's a repeat election, he would not even get 30,000 votes. So, and it's not for nothing. It is the history of the Luo people in this country. They have undergone persecution and prosecution and betrayal. So much so that when they link their suffering with they associate you with the suffering of the community, you cannot move that community. You can't move them.
So you're saying
because the moment they look at the suffering and the betrayal, beginning with Jaramogi Oginga, the persecutions, the assassinations of Mboya, Agwins, Kodek, and you come and you come and you come, up to Robert Ouko and the rest of those people, and the suffering and the detentions they have gone through, and the denial of development, all those things put together, the moment they associate you with that, first of all, you are doomed as a politician. Secondly, you can have no impact in the region. It's common sense. It's a no-brainer. So but I'm saying politics is dynamic. You can't know the situation in the next 2, 3, 4 years. By 2027, maybe people like Owalo will be the ones calling the shots. It's possible.
Owalo is saying this is the first time that they've actually had a government that accommodates the entire
how many
community. And at least they feel a sense
Moi
of belonging.
Came, you know, these people have short memory maybe. When Moi came, we got people from South Nyanza in order to balance South Nyanza against Central Nyanza. Okwanyo, sijui who, there were people, all manner of people, Kinyakiamos, what do you mean? Moi had sometimes almost 6, 7 Luos in government. The most powerful man in this country for some time was Ezekiel
Oyugi Ogango.
Ezekiel, are you adding another name? Yes. Ezekiel Oyugi, who was more powerful than Ezekiel Oyugi in this country. So what's the one? What is he saying?
Okay.
We have had powerful people in government.
Not actually Ezekiel, Ezekiah Oyugi Ogango, yeah.
Who was more, the man, what are we talking about? People have been in the government, both Kenyatta government, there were people, Kenomamo, Moi government, there were people, many of them, tens of them. Uhuru has brought people in government in Omolo, what is Rachel, Omamo,
that is
the daughter
Omamo.
to Kaliech. They have been there. Magoha was there, a powerful minister. So what are you saying, my friend? What is he saying? Is he half as powerful as Magoha?
Okay.
Is he?
Based on your own.
So if you take Raymond, Raymond is a good young man. I wish him the best, and he's a good young, and he'll go far in life because he's really worked hard to get where he is. But you need to combine Owalo, Kedero, Mo Raymond, 10 of them, and they will not even be half as powerful as Oyugi. So what is Owalo saying? Oyugi was power itself. The truth is, when you are perceived to be working with the enemy of the Luo people, you can have no impact in Luo Nyanza. It is as simple as that.
Those people,
it has nothing to do with whether you are a bad or a good or able or not able. It is just the collective history of the Luo people in this country. Makes it very difficult for them to see you as a good person, well-intentioned, if you are going to bed with the people they believe have persecuted and betrayed them.
But there is also a cohort of leaders who have actually packaged themselves as some sort of economic liberators. They are saying that we've suffered for a long time and we can no longer thrive in opposition politics. This is not working for us. We need to change. And that is where the likes of Otinde, not really Otinde Amolo, but then the likes of Jalas, the likes of the Kisumu Senator, Karoli Omondi the other side, and of course Eliud Owalo here, all of them coming on board and saying now these are different times. Do you think that perhaps the community may be moved and forget about history and all that and focus on a new generation?
You know, other than my friend's clinic, mobile clinic, what do you call him? Okay, I've forgotten his name. What time did the government take development to Nyanza and the people of Nyanza chased the government with the development?
I can't remember.
There hasn't been no time, so there's nothing they are saying. First of all, government does not have development to take. I mean, government to mean president. I've sung this song until I don't want to sing it anymore. Anybody going to State House, they should say they are going there for their own good, which is nothing wrong, because they are politicians. Politics is about interest. Whatever your interests are that take you to State House, you are justified to go. But don't come with this lie, this rubbish of development. That one forget.
Okay.
But you are justified to go to State House for good reasons. You could have seen light. You could think it's better to work with the president than with Raila Odinga. You're justified. It's your right. You could also take there your stomach. Na hii tumbo inataka kitu. Kama utawekewa nani kitu iko shida gani? Your interests that take you there, you are justified. But don't tell the people of Kenya you are working with the government for development, with the president for development. There's nothing like that. That is even laughable. Yeah, you are returning us 30 years behind. The constitution we have makes it very clear how development is allocated across the country.
Okay. Yeah. No, definitely, as we wind up this conversation here, the Azimio side were down there, Raila was there, and of course the leaders who are allied to him were saying that they do not have to ask for permission from anybody to hold any demonstrations, be it the president or the CS, Kithure Kindiki. They owe no one any explanation whatsoever. They're only exercising their rights. I wonder whether you also agree with that, and of course the kind of potential harm that has.
You know, it is from our history. Given our history, where it was very difficult for people to assemble, even to speak, to express yourself, free speech. Given that history of suppression, oppression, the preservation of public order act that make people get detained for merely whispering something, that is a history that informed the provisions in the Constitution under Article 37 of the freedom. It's not just there. You know, people like Kindiki are lawyers. Sometimes, please understand, Article 37 is not just in the Constitution. Freedom of expression, freedom of rather demonstrations, picketing, and to assemble. This is something over which people died, really life lost. Not one, not two. People shed blood. People lost property. People lost jobs. That Article 37 is not just in the Constitution as some decoration. It has a history behind it. And we must protect it. We must allow people to express themselves. Only then shall we be in a position to make a statement in the future that, look, we now know who you are. You tell us you want to demonstrate, but look, when we send the police to assist you, you chase them away. Then you go on a looting spree. Now we can see who you are. But you must give them that chance first and attempt to create order by helping the demonstrators do their thing peacefully. If they become wild and even chase the police, then you can tell them, okay, now we know you. We know you. But before you do that, let them enjoy the provisions of Article 37 for which people fought and died. Yes.
Well, that is well put by Professor Herman Manyora here. We are still waiting to see whether perhaps the efforts of the president in the Nyanza region will actually yield some fruits therein. Of course, he's trying to prepare himself for 2027, as we've seen on some of the efforts that are being put in place to ensure that you, as many people as possible, to the other side, marshalling actually a number of people on his side, that by the time that 2027 will reach, then perhaps the president will garner some significant amount of votes from that region. Ladies and gentlemen, remember our team is still on the ground and we'll keep you updated with everything taking place within and across the borders. Till we have this conversation again, have yourself a lovely day. My name is Evans Okinyi.